Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to season 14, episode 12, overall 726, hard to believe, of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, the regional dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with the great selection of all-electric vehicles, EVs they call them now, and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can also call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. I hope everyone's doing well on this Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. It's getting closer every day to my 54th birthday, which is on Monday, June 29th. Age is just a number, by the way. And I'm looking forward to my guest tonight. This is her first appearance on our show. She is a Kitchener-Waterloo native, and she is an author of a children's book called The Doonies. And we're going to bring her on right now, Emma Miller, and we're going to talk a little bit about her books and also her podcast, and also maybe being involved with Rogers TV as well in Kitchener. Good evening, Emma. How are you?
Chris, I'm great. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for coming on here tonight. I really appreciate it.
It's great. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
So, anyways, I guess you have a little bit of sad news you would like to share with our audience today.
Yeah, it's great to chat with you. But unbeknownst to us when we scheduled this, today was also the day that I had to put my cat Kelly down. Just an old lady. It was her time to pass, so I took her and did right by her. But it was a bit of an up and down day because of to do that.
The pets are a part of our lives. They add so much unconditional love to us, and they are like family. And when they're not there, it is hard. So I know what you're going through with your pet, with Callie, and I had to do that with my dog Riley 6.5 years ago when he had cancer, and he was 15, but it wasn't fair to keep him around to suffer. So that's the hardest decision to make, and I know I can relate to that. And pets, like I said, pets have been a big part of my life. I'm sure with yours, with cats and dogs, and I love doing my volunteer work with the Cambridge Humane Society because I get to be around dogs and around cats as well.
Yeah, and bless you for doing that. It's such important, to volunteer with the Humane Societies, and that's actually who ended up putting Callie down today. But it was the Kitchener-Waterloo Humane Society, and they were lovely about it. I mean, it's not a great situation, but it's part of responsible pet ownership, and so I did what I had to do, and they made it as good of an experience as they could. So I appreciate it.
And what were some of your most memorable moments or memories of Callie?
Well, she will live on in the Doonies, as we're going to get into here in just a bit. But one of the characters, being Callie, is obviously inspired by her. So she's never really going to leave me as long as I'm doing the Doonies. But I have some funny memories I was reflecting on this afternoon. I'm kind of sad that she's not here. But I remember at one point a few years ago we had a kitten. During COVID, we got a kitten. Ended up rehoming her because Callie didn't quite fit to her. But during the time that we had her, I fired up the vacuum cleaner for the first time, and nobody was prepared for that. And the kitten jumped up, and before Kelly had a moment to think or anything, the kitten was on her head and then bounced off of her up the stairs. And I just got to witness this whole cacophony of events. And it was so funny when it happened, and she was just so shocked. So we carry the fun little moments with us. That's how they live on.
Well, and you know what? You can always maybe adopt another cat in the future, but everybody's grieving period is different. Some people can do it right away. Some people take a little more time. So there should be a little bit of a grieving period as well. But again, I want to say I'm so sorry. And I know your cat will be joining my late pets up in Rainbow Bridge, because I do believe there is a Rainbow Bridge for our furry friends.
Yes, that's a lovely term for it. I've heard that before. So yeah, I agree. And just speaking of that, you had mentioned when we were chatting today about what was happening that you have, is it a 15-year-old pet still with you, or 14?
Riley, yeah, Latte is 14, but Latte is now in stage 2 of kidneys. Like right now, she's fine, but if she gets to stage 4, then it might be because she's 14 right now. She's still good, but she does have kidneys, and she's at level 2, so she's on special pet food. So she could be around for another year or 2 years, depending. But the special food she's on should help her, hopefully, for another year or two. But then that decision will have to be made at some point too.
Yeah, but at least you get a little bit more time.
And she's not suffering right now. She's still very active and stuff like that. So cats are smarter than what people give them credit for.
Yeah, and I would say as well that Callie also knew how to play me. So I definitely ended up, doing a lot more for her at the end, and I'm sure she probably could do it a little bit more than she wanted to.
And Latte was adopted from a local humane society here in Guelph. I think February 2020. So Latte was about 8 when I got her, and now she's 14. But she's very spoiled.
Very good. And as they all should be, I believe. Yeah.
Well, Emma, you're from Kitchener-Waterloo. Can you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself, and when did you develop an interest for the entertainment industry, entertaining other people?
It was never my plan, actually. I'm Kitchener-Waterloo, born and raised. I went to Eastwood for high school. I was born in Grand River Hospital. So during COVID, we had time to adopt a few dogs. And I was out walking the dogs in Doonies South in Kitchener, which is where I was living with my ex-husband and my daughter at the time. And the Doonies chose me. That's really the best way to put it, as I usually tell the story, because I didn't have a plan to be a writer. I was an executive assistant at major tech companies around the area. I was fortunate to work with BlackBerry and Oracle NetSuite. And 10 books worth of stories and these characters dropped into my head. I've never had anything like it before or since. So I know how all of the 10 books connect, and what the eventual outcome in book 10 is that we're building towards. And I flesh out a lot of the details, in terms of the minor storylines that connect things, but I feel like they really did choose me in a sense, and I'm very fortunate.
Now, I've been doing this show since the pandemic, March 2020, when I started this. I've had a number of guests on from different countries and different backgrounds, and it seems like a lot of people during the pandemic, 2020, when that 2-year pandemic was here, had switched careers.
Yeah. It's, I wonder sometimes if we don't even have enough distance from COVID yet to know how transformative it's been, not just personally, but societally. It changed so many things, and yeah, this was one for me, and it doesn't surprise me to hear that. It's changed me.
What was the biggest turning point in you changing careers, getting into this?
Well, I ended up getting laid off from Oracle NetSuite because they did a company-wide layoff at the end of last year, it was. So I had taken my settlement from that because I was there for a long time. and really decided to focus in on the Doonies. But so prior to that, the Doonies chose me in 2020 or 2022 specifically. And actually, Chris, I know I had looked up the date on a photo that I had sent to you. So I managed to narrow it down to a specific date because I know the photo I took when the Doonies walked into my head. And that was the one that I sent you. So I believe, if I look at it, it was October 13th of 2022. I know the actual date that they picked me. Isn't that funny? And it's from that photo that I know that's when I chose it.
Emma, one thing I've noticed too in the last 7 years specifically, there seems to be more people self-employed and more entrepreneurs now, and even more creativity from people now too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice to see. I mean, for me, it was great to have that sort of professional career because now, as I do all of these things with the Doonies, I have all of that experience to draw from. So I think it's great to have a balance there. But the lean now towards the creative and the artistic, I think it lets you develop yourself a lot more. And so, maybe that speaks towards people being more mindful in general these days, hopefully. That we get to explore what, might be hiding within us.
Emma, what's your thoughts on AI? Do you find AI is kind of shrinking the workforce and creativity? And how much have you used AI with the Doonies so far?
Well, as you can see from the photo behind me, I do use it. So they chose me from a writing perspective, but if I go to actually try to draw something, it would very much be a stick person. I don't make any claims to be able to draw anything. So in order to bring their world to life visually, I use an AI tool. In terms of blending it, I mean, I also write out the Doonies by hand. So I think, for me personally, my brain is a nice blend of actual old-fashioned or more old-school ways of creating with AI. One drives the other for me. In other industries, I know I read an article not too long ago about how one of the means that AI might be cannibalizing itself online in terms of the more AI images there are online, and that's what the AI is drawing from. It doesn't have more original content to draw from, and therefore it ends up destroying itself. If I read this article correctly, so that was an interesting theory. I don't know if that's the way that it's going, but I think there is a danger in overusing it. I like to blend it myself. I use it where I need to, but I don't use it with any sort of writing. That all comes from just me, and I labor over the tool.
Now, I do occasionally use a little AI when editing video. Obviously, I love editing video, but there's sometimes where I'm overwhelmed with so much work. I use the AI sometimes, but I don't rely on it completely, just occasionally when I need some help with editing video when I've got a lot on my plate. So I think you're right. I think if you use it the right way, it's a good tool.
Yeah, I think it's meant to enhance. I don't think it's meant to replace, as with a lot of things in life, I guess, right? It's if we can just use it, to boost instead of overtake.
Emma, how did you come about creating the Doonies with the name and the characters for children?
Well, we've touched on this already. So in terms of like creating the world, they chose me. The characters, like when I say they chose me, I envisioned them. I kind of saw what they were going to look like. But I did pick their names. So a lot of them are named after things that mean a lot to me. So one is Dooney County, named after the plant. Then there's Dooney Brook, who is named after my daughter. Dooney Flugelhorn, I don't have a frame of reference for that, but I came across that word somewhere in the past, and I thought it was so funny that I held on to it, and that just seemed like a perfect fit for the farmer in Dooneyville. Because I really like words, and I like to put a love of literary references into the Doonies where I can. So if I find, I like to call them like my weird whimsical words, either on Pinterest or just somewhere online. I will save it on my little board and see where I can fit it in. Another one that I just found was smell fungus, just as an aside, which means someone who finds fault in everyone and everything. So I am definitely going to try and fit that into one of the next books because I thought that it made me laugh. So if I come across one of those, I'll save it. And then for some of the other Doonies characters, they came from me. So my dad's nickname for me when I was little was Bobber. Not really sure where that came from since my name is Emma, but somewhere along the way, he probably said Bob and then it ended up getting changed over time. So hence, one of the main characters' names is Dooney Bobber. And that's just my way of honoring my dad who passed away before my dog.
We have some viewers watching on Instagram Live. One of them is, her name's Naima. She is a yoga instructor out in BC. I want to say to Naima, thank you so much for watching here. And for anyone that's watching our show right now live stream, and you have questions for Emma or myself, most likely Emma, please type them in the comment section and we will read them out here as well. And I appreciate everyone watching this show. Now, I wanted to ask you this as well. Total number of characters you have so far, and what's the process like in creating a character in character development?
Well, that's interesting because in putting together the script pitch deck, I always have to struggle over that term that I am currently working on with Randy Assel to pitch the games to Netflix and a few other production companies. We had. Can you ask me that question again? I got lost in my own statement.
It's okay, no worries. Just about character development.
That's it. Thank you. I lost my train of thought.
It happens. It happens to me all the time.
So in putting that together, I had to create 10 additional storylines because Netflix and others like to have more sort of episode ideas or proposals to choose from. So that was a challenge. So as you say that, I had to create a few additional characters to prop up these additional storylines. And since I got given the original 10 sort of as a gift, I wasn't quite sure how to do that at first. So a lot of my initial steps tend to be on stickies on a wall. So I will get just sort of a piece or a thought, and I'll capture it quickly on a sticky. And I have a specific wall in my bedroom to capture them all on. So that's how those ones started. And then additionally, for a few new characters, I had a partner who passed away at the beginning of this year. And he and
I'm sorry.
Thank you. They themselves inspired two of the new characters. So I used their middle names for privacy. But he will live on in one of those new characters as well. So I guess I tend to very much draw from my own personal experience and history when I'm looking to create any of the new characters. Even if I don't intend to, that's what ends up happening.
Emma, how would you describe yourself as a creator?
As a creator, that's a good question. I guess I'm getting younger as I get older.
Same here. And shorter too.
Oh, that's true, actually. Yeah. So I don't think I would have done as well with any of these stories when I was younger, because I was much more serious when I was younger and working in the office much more professionally. As you should be. So now as a creator, I'm a lot more whimsical, and I feel younger than I did when I was in my 30s. So I think as a creator, I'm much more free now than I would have been in my early days.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. How would you describe yourself as a writer? And have you ever had an issue where you had writer's block?
Yes. As a writer, most of the writing of the Doonies has happened between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. So the majority of the books were written when I was still with my ex, and we had a lot going on with dogs and my daughter and whatnot. So I would wake up in the middle of the night and inspiration would sort of strike me. So I was a late night writer, and I usually had all of the animals surrounding me while I was writing because they would just kind of flop over to my antique writing bench. And that's where I tend to do it's a conversation bench, if you're familiar with that. People used to have them where there was like a little platform attached to like a cushion bench, because that's where your phone had pride of place, like when your phone was first connected. So I have one that I write on.
Where do you get some of your inspirations from the Doonies? Like, what are some of your inspirations you get?
The things that they inspire me.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, I guess in looking to write, especially the additional 10 stories for the script pitch deck, I ended up looking more for like lessons and morals. So I really kind of leaned into that more than I thought I was going to, because I wanted to make sure that the stories had like a lesson behind them, even if it was still fun. I wanted, because my age demographic is like ages 3 to 6, is sort of my core group. If it's not fun, it doesn't matter what you're trying to tell them, I'm not going to listen. So I like to try and do that first.
Can you just tell us a little bit about the Doonies' pet frog, Schnarf? And did you get the name Schnarf from the Thundercats? Because there was a character on the Thundercats cartoon show back in the 80s,
Yeah.
and one of the characters was Schnarf.
No, but that's funny. I've had other people say that, and I did used to watch the Thundercat, and I'd totally forgotten that. No, so Schnarf is based on our old dog, Riggs. And we used to say that he was, when we got him as a puppy, that one of the noises he would make when he was eating, it sounded like he was schnarfing. So, and he was a crazy, husky, lovable puppy. So he inspired the character of Schnarf, and the name came from the noise he made when he was throwing his nose into his bowl food.
Do you have any plans to add any more characters that are locally around here into the Doonies?
Well, Schnarf ended up getting a brother, which I didn't plan on. But again, for these 10 additional storylines, I had to come up with something else for him to like butt heads with. And so Schnarf now has a brother named Schnorgle. So I don't know if I would say Schnorgle's based on anybody locally, but these two characters tend to resonate the most with my readers. So I'm gonna say that they're the most popular.
How would you describe yourself as a writer and as a storyteller, and what makes a good storyteller these days from your perspective?
I think originality. Again, it's anybody could use a tool, I guess, online with just a few prompts and spit out an AI book. But I have been accused of that as well, which is kind of funny when I'm up writing late at night with a pencil in my notebook. But originality, and putting yourself out there in terms of putting yourself into your stories and then being vulnerable, or potentially being vulnerable when you share them with the world. There's a lot of myself, as we talked about, in these stories, so you have to be willing to be open, and then be willing to face rejection as well. I guess I would say. I am self-published, but I have been submitting them to the big publishers and agencies and whatnot. I ended up doing all this myself because if I heard no, I didn't really accept that. I just decided to carry on and find a way to do it myself. So tenacity, I guess, as well. If you're going to pursue the creative arts, as you know, Chris, right?
Yep.
You could segue into that for you. You have to have the passion and believe in yourself.
Mindset.
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of people who don't agree with you or don't align with you.
I could write a book on that. Honestly, I can relate. And that's what I love about this show is because every guest that comes on here, I can relate to them or they can relate to me, and they have a story that's so unique, and it's just amazing.
It's the the human experience, right? There's so many ways that we can find ways to connect if we look for those instead of ways that are different.
Do you find in the entertainment industry, creativity has shrunk?
Yeah, and I mean, I would say I'm not as into the entertainment industry as others, but from what I have seen, yeah, I don't know why that is. Again, maybe with everything going on in the world, there just is less bandwidth for people to be able to create. If you're worried about everything that's happening in the world and just your basic survival, it's very hard to try to get to that next level to be creative as well. So you have to have space in your life, whether you make it or not, to be able to create.
I do feel social skills have shrunk too because everything now is virtual. I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel it's has diminished.
Yeah, and that's why I do enjoy doing the author appearances, like when I can go in person to the schools, especially. It's so nice to be able to see like the littlies. I think that comes from Blue. To see the littlies in person, and they get so excited and engaged, especially when you take the physical book. And there's something tangible, about holding the book in your hands. You connect with it more. There's something there to engage more of your senses. So yeah, I'd say even from an author perspective, to go in person. I've done a few virtual author appearances, and the kids are great and whatnot. But if it's not, I would say the same level of engagement.
Absolutely. And as much as I love doing this show virtually, I love it and I'm very grateful for it. I still love doing in-person interviews with athletes or celebrities or people locally. It's just a different vibe than being virtual. Virtual is great, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but the in-person, there's nothing better than in-person contact as well. Hey, Emma, I got to ask you this too. Self-publishing. What's your thoughts on self-publishing? Do you see more people going to that route nowadays with self-publishing?
I do. It's very hard to break into the more formal or the more formulaic, publishing world. There's lots of guides and whatnot out there to help you, but it's really just about sort of getting lightning in a bottle. Like you have to hit the right person at the right time when they're open for submissions, which is only at certain times of the year, and it's very convoluted to try to navigate. So again, you can and we certainly try. Um, but I find a lot more these days. I have people sending me, messages, DMs, like, "Hey, how did you get started in there?" Like they've had an idea and they're thinking about it. They want to know, well, how did you actually do it? And I'm always very happy to talk about it, and I'll share everything I know. And there's almost, I find, a bit of, I don't want to say shame, but like embarrassment. Like I'm not sure if I should. If a book is a book, kids love my books the same as they love a book that came out of the library. So I don't think that it should be looked down upon that I published it myself or Brandon has published a book. Knowledge is knowledge, and if a kid enjoys a book, that's great. I don't really think it should be anything.
Emma, for our audience right now watching this or watching on live stream or later on the audio platforms, and they're interested in getting into writing a book and becoming an author, What advice would you give to those people from your experiences?
Um, well, to get started, I would say just start. That's I think it's Stephen King, who is one of my favorite authors, has a quote about that, and I won't try because I'll get it wrong. But in essence, and there was some swearing in it too. It was, if you want to write, just write. You don't know how it's going to end until you start. And it's true. You have to, don't fear the blank page. Write a sentence down if that's all you got. The bullet points, even. Again, I use the stickies on the wall until enough kind of comes together that I start to get a chunk, a sentence or a paragraph or an idea. You have to start somewhere, and if it's somewhere really small, don't be embarrassed or look down on yourself. Writing's hard because if it's real, it's worth doing, and that means you're going to be taking it straight from yourself.
One thing you mentioned too, we talked about it before, is mindset. Any career you go into, you have to have a strong mindset, but you also have to block out the noise because you're going to have skeptics, nares, haters, and people try to belittle your accomplishments. Have you had anybody that has kind of tried to belittle your work or accomplishments?
Yeah, I have a few screenshots I've saved that I look at occasionally, but for motivation, because as you referenced at the beginning of the show, very soon we will have a Doonies TV show coming out on Rogers TV.
Congratulations! I'm happy for you.
So the progression of these ideas walking into my head right up until now. If I had not believed in myself, along the way, none of that would have happened. And there were a lot of people along the way who had questions or thought, I'm not really sure if that's, a sellable idea. But again, if you have belief in yourself, it will happen. And it's coming to fruition now, which feels really
And I've had a lot of successes with this, but I've also had a lot of disappointments. And you know what? You don't take the disappointments as a failure. Take it as a temporary setback, and I use it as motivation. So I am so happy for you on this, Emma. Now, can you just tell us a little more about the involvement with Rogers Local TV and how did this all come about, the process?
Yeah, so from the books, and then also working with Eric Chaplin, who's my local collaborator for our theme song, I started doing a podcast, the Have a Magical Day podcast. I've got a few episodes out. And that led to me chatting with Jeremy Perky, who's one of the general managers at Rogers TV here locally. And we just aligned the other day on essentially just taking that same podcast and putting it to TV, because there's a lot of ways that overlaps. So yeah, it's not a lot of extra work for me in that sense, because a lot of the prep has already been done. It's just adding like another platform for the same content to be aired.
Live streaming has really changed and shrunk the TV and the radio industry because now you can do radio from your own home like I am and many others are as well with the right equipment, and that's now Rogers TV and other TVs like YouTube and your TV, I guess. I think it's Sudbury or Niagara Falls. They can do a lot of programming now from people's homes instead of being in a studio.
Exactly, and it's a lot more cost effective, and it's the way most of us tend to get our information now, anyways. I was reading it the other day somewhere about how how much longer are we going to continue to call it social media? It's just media.
Yeah.
It's just we need a new term or like a new umbrella term for it almost, because that's how most of us still consume.
Now, Emma, when is your first episode going to be on Rogers Local TV? And have they given you a time zone yet?
No. So we had talked about July. So I think it's going to be quite soon, given that today's June 24th. But when I have an exact date, I will be posting that across all of my social media. So hopefully in the next week, I'll have an actual date and time.
How long will every show be? Would it be 30 minutes or an hour?
No, excuse me. Sorry, I've had a bit of a tickle in my throat this week. I'm thinking it will still remain about the same. So each podcast episode is about 11 to 13 minutes long. Again, because my demographic is ages 3 to 6 ish, depending on which fun guests we have on. That tends to be about the length of their attention span. And I like it to be broken up into multiple segments to keep everybody's attention along the way. Again, being a mom, I remember when my daughter was that age, a couple of minutes, that's about it. And if you got that, great. So each one of my segments is 1 to 3 minutes long. With things like, Chronicles of Canada, because it might be like a Canadian celebrity joining us, or Whimsical Wonders, which is when we get into STEM, so we might have some fun science and math facts. But then also nice fun jokes, and I always read a story through it as well. So it's a nice mix of like local with the literary. I tend to focus on my own stories, but I am also going to start reading some from other local authors, so that we can keep it Canadian and Canadian friendly.
Now, being born in the 1970s, which is a lot different than now, do you find that the children's and the younger generations' attention spans have shrunk due to the internet and social media or media?
I think all of ours has. So, like, to be honest, it's harder for me these days even to be real to sit down and read like a whole book. When I was younger, I remember just devouring books at night, and it is harder now. So I think that's changed for all of us to be
More distractions.
Yeah, it's the quickie mentality, and it's a quick dopamine hit when you can hit the button. So it's harder to sit down and focus on the page, and if it's not engaging, then you just read it.
Emma, from your perspective, you're doing a children's podcast. Do you find there's more and more people doing children's podcasts, or do you feel you're one of the few that are doing that?
Well, at least for sort of this southwestern Ontario, or I'll even narrow it down to like the Tri-Cities, so Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge. It seems to be a bit of an anomaly for what I'm proposing. Even Jeremy Parking at Rogers was remarking that this is what they were, kind of the type of content that they were hoping to find locally, so that they can sort of, branch out on like children's content, because there's a lot of maybe more news focus or information, but not necessarily the family-friendly entertainment and like fun or silly content. So I feel like there's not as much happening right now, but I would love to see more, because I think the appetite for just Canadian content in general is big right now globally. So if there's a chance to influence kids to read, especially with some fun, silly children's content, I'm all for it.
Where can our audience watch or listen to your podcast?
I've got it in as many places as I can right now. So definitely on YouTube. You can also find it on Substack. I just finished setting that up last week. And Buzzsprout as well. And then once we have it all finished setting up with Rogers TV, then the same content will be available through there as well.
Can you just tell us a little more about Substack?
Well, I'm newer to it as well, but it's a really cool. I'm going to say site, so that you can have like the literary content. So the books are going to be available on there soon as well behind a paywall feature. But you can still post like blogs or articles and share that with subscribers, and they can choose whether they want to see the paid content or the free content. So it's a way to still, reach like a broader swath of subscribers, I guess, or a different audience, and give them the option of free or paid content.
What are your thoughts on hard copies? Do you find hard copies of books now are shrinking as well due to the digital technology?
I would say not for me so far. So the Doonies are available in a soft copy or hard copy. And by and large, the hard copies, the paper copies, are much more popular. Um, Again, maybe that's just a difference between kids and grown-ups. I would like to think so. But the kids like having something tangible in front of them that they can hold, particularly at this age, between ages 3 and 6. It's going to hold their attention more than just looking at a screen, which they do a lot of anyways.
Emma, I was going to play one of your clips from your YouTube channel. Before we do that, where can our audience find you on social media and your website, and the best way of contacting you?
Oh gosh, I am everywhere, and you're doing a great job. I can see the banner at the bottom there of flashing them all up. So if you go to our main website, which is thedoonies.ca, I have all of our links there, and then that can take you to our main QR code as well. So that I have all of the links there for our group pages as well as my individual pages. So easy to find.
And are your books available on Amazon.ca?
Yes, and .com. So I believe if you order it in the States, it is only available in hard copy. But here in Canada, you can get it in soft cover version as well.
Did you imagine when you started the Doonies a number of years ago that it would be getting this big? And do you get a lot of reaction from people that are from the States and other countries internationally?
Yeah, no, I had no idea when I went for a walk that day that this was going to hit me and sort of change my life as it has. So it's the wildest experience I've had in my life. And what was the other part of that question?
Just how much
reaction? Yes, yeah. A lot from Ireland, which I'm pleased with because I have an English-Irish background, which is why I'm so fair. So yeah, there's a lot over in Ireland who seem to really enjoy it, like the whimsicalness, and maybe that's because I tend to draw from like Irish mythology too. Maybe they connect with it from more perspective.
And it was my show when I started this back in March of 2020. I had no audience, I had no guests, but you had to work. I had to keep working at it, keep getting better. And now I've had 82 countries around the world listening to this show. So this isn't just a golf-based show. It's basically anywhere in the world that can listen to this show. And I'm very fortunate and lucky to have many listeners. But I tell people, whatever you do in life, you want to be an author, you want to write cartoons, get into the animation industry, whatever you do, it takes time to build a career, and you just got to keep working at it and keep getting better and learning and improving and never get complacent.
Yes, and I meant to mention this earlier, and this just reminded me. Your clip today that you posted online of you doing the sprint, that was awesome. Like,
I consider it. Thank you. I'm doing it for a charity. Actually, I've decided to make this into a charity event in July. It's called the 40-Yard Run by Chris Palme for Paws, and I'm going to get people to donate some money towards the Cambridge District Humane Society, and I will do the 40-yard dash in less than 13 seconds.
Okay, well, make sure to send that to me because I will for sure sponsor your program too.
And I want to give a big shout out to the Toronto Argonauts Football Club. They were one of the first professional sports clubs to give me media opportunities when I started. I did not go to broadcast journalism for this. I basically had to learn all this media stuff. I had to learn myself, and I reached out to the Toronto Argonauts. I thought, they'll say no to me or won't give me an answer, and they said yes. And I've been covering them for the last 5 years, and one opportunity's led to a number of opportunities. And I tell young people, don't be afraid to reach out. And if someone says no to you, it's not the end of the world. Use it as motivation and as a learning experience.
Yeah, and as you say that, that's how I ended up getting, if you've seen Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall, gave us a lovely shout out as well. I thought I'm going to reach out because I was always a big fan of his, and he was so lovely about it. At first, he was like, normally I send people to my agent, because that's and pay a lot of money for it. But he did it like on the side for me because he loved the characters and he was such a sweetheart. So yeah, if you don't reach out, you never know.
Absolutely. And I know this video clip's about 9 minutes, so I'm going to just play maybe about 3 minutes of it, and then I'll get your thoughts on it as well.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Emma. And please let me know if you can hear the audio okay. Just 1 second.
Okay.
The Doonies, Book 1, New Girl. In the middle of the lush local forest stands a huge gnarled oak tree. This is the magical forest of Doon, and that is the wise old oak tree, or Woot for short. The Woot is wonderfully wise and kind, but the only humans that seem to listen anymore are small ones, or kids for short. Whenever they are around, the Woot always seems to have just the right story for them. As the Woot was quietly enjoying some delicious sunshine with his squirrels, a small human slowly rode her bike up the warm path, stopped, and sat beneath his lower branches. She sighed softly and picked up a small stick. After a few minutes of her drawing with it, the Woot coughed. "Huh?" the girl yelped as she jumped to her feet. "Who's there?" "Oh, I am sorry. I didn't mean to scare. I love seeing drawings. With me, will you share?" The girl stared at the brown tree trunk. You're a tree?" she squeaked. "Yes, of course, intros. How rude of me. Apologies, child. I am the wise old oak tree." The girl stared for another minute at the tree, looking around for anyone else, and then finally said, "I'm Jenny, and it's a drawing of my new house." Hey guys, do you know what you call a train that sneezes? And a choo-choo. Have a magical day. The air filled with creaks and groans as the Woot leaned over to look at Jenny's dirt art. "Very nice, Jenny. I like your style. It's beautiful, and it makes me smile." But the Woot noticed no smile on Jenny's face and wondered why. Then he realized new house must mean that she had moved, and that reminded him of a story. If you have some time and can stay for a while, a Doonies tale I have to hopefully make you smile. In the forest of Doon, where the wild breezes blow, live some magical creatures in trees in a row. They're called the Doonies, and their love for life is big, but sometimes they need help, and into their feelings they must dig.
In the forest of Doon, where the wild breezes blow, live some magical creatures in trees in a row. They're called the Doonies, and their love for life is big, but sometimes they need help, and into their feelings they must dig.
In Doonieville, Doonie Dawn raced along the magical, glowing path, eager to see her friend. Today was Doonie Bobrick's 11th birthday, and Dawn had worked for weeks on his birthday gift. In this part of the forest of Doon, the sunlight gets softly filtered through fantastically colorful and sparkly crystals everywhere. The happier the Doonies are, the more the crystals grow and glow. Some are creamy opals, some are vibrant turquoise, some have glittery sparkle dust, and some hum happily when you hug them. Normally, Dawn would have appreciated all this beauty much more, but today she was on a mission. As she neared a tall tree with dark green leaves, Bobrick burst through a small door and yelled, "Hi, Dawn!" Bobrick is as chipper and happy as any Doonie could hope to be, and never more so than when his BFF Dawn shows up.
Thoughts on this video, Emma?
I don't know. I'm glad it came together productionally, but I always blush when I'm watching myself read. I don't know why.
I wanted to ask you this too. How did you come up with the dress, the color, and the design of the dress for this?
Oh, So in collaborating with Eric Trafton, Eric's outfit is very distinctive, and it's purple. And I wanted, like, there's a purple shirt, and I wanted to, when we performed together, I wanted to offset his color, but not overwhelm it. I wanted to complement it. So it started from that because we were going to be performing at Oktoberfest together, at the Oktoberfest for Families in Kitchener.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I knew I wanted to go green and, to sort of match with the foresty theme. And then I found this, which is a headband. And I guess the sparkly bits inspired me to look for that on the dress. And then I found that online. So Eric and a headband helped to inspire me.
Did you find green high heel shoes too?
No, I have sneakers that I wear with the dress, but they are sparkly. So they are silver and very glittery, but they are flat and they're sneakers because you cannot wear a dress that poofy and carry the big, enormous magic book of doom in heels. Or I can't.
I don't know how women wear those shoes, by the way.
I did for years in an office, and now I stick to flats. My feet are done.
Emma, how important is it to have the right theme song for the Doonies, and how much has Eric assisted with you with the music?
Eric is a lot. So I remember Eric coming to the school when I was little, and so that's why I had reached out to him on social media in the first place. And then he fell in love with the Doonies too, and just kind of got inspired from there. So the tune is entirely Eric's creation of our theme song, and the words are all mine. So he just took parts of the story and worked with that. And I believe, if memory serves, he came up with the do-do-do part first, and then he kind of built the rest of it around that. So I think I remember getting a text from him saying that he come up with this do-do-do part first. Yeah.
It's a very catchy song, and that's it. You want your song to be catchy and for people to remember it.
Exactly. So to answer that part, it's very important to have the right theme song. And he and I knew that it was right when it got stuck in both of our heads for a few days. Before he even added like all the words to it, we kept kind of humming it to ourselves. So yeah, especially for little guys, you got to be able to give them something to sing along with if they're going to engage with it.
Do you remember the first time you met Eric?
Yeah, I have a picture. It's not a great picture, to be honest, but yeah, we went to his home and met him and his lovely wife. They're such a lovely couple. And we went into his studio. So that was the first time I had met him in person, and he was playing the song. So I cried. So the first time I met him, he was helping me to stop weeping. But it was such a lovely moment because, again, I remembered him from being little myself. And now he was collaborating with me on this idea that I had. So it's nice that he loved him too.
How talented is he from 1 to 10? What would you give him for talent-wise?
Well, I'm very biased, so I'm going to give him a 10, obviously. This was his first new song in so long as well. So it really, it was touching for me that he was so inspired so quickly because it had been so long since that spark, had kind of hit him. And he was, just comfortable with his repertoire of awesome songs. So the fact that he loved this new one and got inspired by the Doonies, I was very moved by that.
What's up next for you and Eric going forward?
Well, I have some stickies behind me that are hidden by the fake background, but I have an idea for Bobrick's theme song next. So Dooney Bobrick is the baker of my world. So I've come up with a song that in my head, it kind of has like a Huey Lewis and the News kind of like rocky boppy beat to it. So I guess I'm going to end up humming that for Eric and give him the words that I have and see what he does with it. For this one's a bit different because I have a sense of the rhythm, I guess, that might work for it. But I would bow to his expertise on how it's supposed to sound.
And when is your next book coming out?
Oh, I don't.
Book number 5.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. I don't know. The stickies are on the wall, but I haven't made any progress on it in about a month, to be honest. So I had hoped that it was going to come out this summer. I'm going to say now, I hope by the end of the year, because I've got the Rogers TV aspect to kind of work into the mix now as well, and I wouldn't want to overpromise. So I'm going to say I hope by the end of this year.
Emma, what do you want your younger audience to take out of the Doonies as a live streaming show and with your books and podcast show?
I always want to try to give them good, solid lessons to draw from, and that, by and large, it's themes of friendship, doing the right thing even if you don't want to, and kindness and empathy, because I think those are the main soft skills that if we can kind of nail or solidify with little guys at a younger age, I think those are just great life skills to have. There's a lot more empathy that everybody could use in the world for each other, so that's a big one thematically for me.
Do you find kindness and empathy and even listening skills have shrunk the last few years?
And so I guess it's a desire to try to inspire that in the next generation, and reinforce that those are things that are important, that deserve some attention and should be focused on, not just mentioned in the tossed aside or not pay attention to.
And speaking of shrinking, since I've turned 50, I've gotten down to 5'4" now.
We were talking about that before the show too. Yeah.
You might be writing a book about me.
Well, I mean, if you can fit into the tree, the Doonies are pretty little. I'd always kind of pictured them about that high.
So what? 3 inches?
Yeah. So they're pretty wee for you to be able to know.
Oh, okay. Do you have a name for me as your new Doonie?
No, I won't. I'm not going to try and come up with that on the fly because I'll probably come up with something wildly inappropriate. So no.
and I think what you're doing is amazing, and we need more people doing what you're doing, being creative, but you're also serving the younger generation and being a positive influence. How much does that mean to you?
That means a lot. I think that's why they chose me. There was some things that needed to be expressed from this idea, and I'm just trying my best to do them justice. Again, this wasn't part of my plan, and I guess the best things in life being able to plan for, they just come too.
Same here. If I didn't do volunteer work with a local basketball team who needed a camera operator that night, I might not have be here right now because I was in the right place at the right time. They needed me to do camera work, and they actually showed me what to do camera work. They paid me. Then they referred me to a local TV company, which
right.
And I did camera work with them for about 3-4 years. And then during the pandemic, I told a producer I was going to start a podcast. The producer kind of smirked or laughed at me, and I used that as motivation. So, and I'm thankful for the local TV company. I'll mention her name, Rogers, because the Guelph Nighthawks, before they moved to Calgary, they gave me an opportunity to do camera work, and I got a taste of it. And then I got an opportunity with Rogers TV, and I did camera work with them for 3-4 years. And I got a taste of the broadcasting bug through volunteer work. And also, too, I'm going to be 54. Age is just a number. So I started a new career about 7 years ago at the age of 47. So, and I tell high school kids now, too, you don't have to pick one career in high school and that's it. You can have 2, 3, 4 different careers, and never judge anyone by their age. Judge them by their character, their personality, and the body and quality of their work.
Yeah, I mean, and we're human. I mean, you do end up, judging you can't help it. But I've also read that it's your first instinct is maybe what you were brought up to say, but your second thought is your more evolved self. Is what you taught yourself to think or say, and that's where you have control over
And things do happen for a reason. And the media industry, TV, radio, whatever, the media industry can be cutthroat, and sometimes things aren't going to go your way. And for me, it makes me appreciate my successes more. If you always were getting success, you might take it for granted, and sometimes setbacks are they're temporary setbacks, and for me, you just appreciate your successes more after you've had some setbacks.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Now, Emma, as we wrap this show up, I got a couple quick questions for you. What's next up on your bucket list for the Doonies?
Well, I'd like the Rogers TV to launch next month, so I'll be working on that. Fingers crossed that something were to happen with the script pitch deck or the Bible, as it's called. That maybe you might see the Doonies on Netflix or Crave TV. That would be nice. Again, I think it would just be nice to be able to share it with a larger audience, with a larger group of kids, because I think there's great lessons in there, and I think it's worth watching.
What's one word to describe Emma Miller, the person?
Empathy. That's used to be organization. When I worked in an office, that would be how I would have described myself. But these days, it's empathy.
And how did we meet and connect on social media?
I don't know. I was trying to think of that today. Do you remember?
I think it was Facebook.
Oh, that was it. And I think I had watched one of your broadcasts and then reached out to tell you were awesome. I think that's how it was. And then we just started chit-chatting from there. So I appreciate that you took the time to chat with me today.
Well, thank you so much. And by the way, I spend more time in Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge than I do in Guelph, because I do a lot of volunteer work with a group in Kitchener, Waterloo called the Business Education Partnership of Waterloo Region. And if you ever want to volunteer as a career speaker, I can put you in touch with those folks there. They're really good people there. And also I volunteer at the Cambridge Humane Society twice a week as well. And I did some media work for the Kitchener Waterloo Titans a couple years ago, and for the Kitchener Panthers last year too.
Excellent. Yeah, send me that link for sure. The Humane Society, let me heal a little bit from Cali.
Yes, you need a little time. Yes. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah. And also, this is a segment we do wrap up. It's called Ask the Host, CDP. Those are my initials, by the way. A question. Do you have a question to put me on the hot seat as we wrap this show up?
Oh, well, the Forest of Doon is a magical crystal forest. So what's your favorite crystal and why? Oh, I actually stumped you. Are you Googling it?
All of them. Politically correct. All of them.
You could say something like quartz. I'll try to give you a bit of an answer. Yeah. So the crystals. I love having crystals and gemstones all over my house too. So if you don't know the answer to that, Chris, then you should look it up, and then you can post it online.
All of the above. We're gonna have to do a live in-person interview too.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll do a
dress.
Yes, a dress on.
Yeah.
And no high heel shoes.
No high heel shoes. Now I'm just gonna say I do also have a backup copy of the dress. So if you want to wear the other copy of the dress, I'll bring it with me. So
I don't think I look good in a dress.
I don't know. Look at work. I'm sure it'd be beautiful.
You're a nice person. You're a good person, Emma. You're a good person. And that's what I love about this show too. It's not just the storytelling, but connecting with people too. And I can tell you're very good at connecting and networking with people. And I am so happy for you and your success. And I'm going to try to support your shows a little bit more by watching or commenting on them as well. And again, where can our audience who's watching live stream and audio find yourself in the Doonies again?
Yeah, so you can definitely go to thedoonies.ca. I was just looking at our website today, making sure all the links work, so we're good there. I am everywhere on platforms, so you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Blue Sky, LinkedIn, Facebook. There's a new one, which is a Canadian social platform. I'm on there.
Oh, I had no idea. I
Yeah.
met so many. It's like I can't keep up with them.
I know. So exclamation mark. So I'm on that one now as well.
Wow.
TikTok. So I think I've covered pretty much all of them. And you can, if you scan our QR code, you can find all of them.
I'm gonna have to add you on Blue Sky and TikTok.
Cool.
As for I don't know if I have time for that. It's just full social media content is a full-time job itself. And you see I'm wearing a hat. I literally wear 10 or 11 different hats. So it's just I'm hoping one day I'll be able to hire someone to help me out with the social media content, because that's a full-time job itself, promoting yourself on all these social media platforms. And by the way, I joined TikTok 5 years ago, and I'm thinking, this is foolish. I'm too old for this crap. It's for high school kids and stuff like that, the younger generation. And you know what? I learned how to promote myself, my guests, and how to cut promos through TikTok. Instead of going for broadcast journalism, I learned a lot of my skills from social media.
So you can learn something from everywhere. You just got to go looking for it.
Absolutely. And Emma, I'm going to say thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts on our first show together, and hopefully more in the future?
Yeah, we will definitely have more. I have to end every single one with a tagline, so you could say it with me if you want.
Have a Dooney day. Have a Dooney magical day.
Oh, close. It's have a magical Dooney day.
Magical Dooney day. Have you decided to market that on T-shirts, mugs, and hats yet?
I am in the process of working on that. Yes.
You'll have to send me a T-shirt.
There will be some merch or some swag options coming up.
Make sure it's a big size, because I'm a big guy now.
Well, we want it to be comfy as well, right? Everything in the Doonies world is good.
And I'm looking at getting some coffee mugs and some T-shirts again as well.
Nice.
Branding and marketing. And that's something I forgot to ask you about, how important branding and marketing the Doonies is.
Oh, it's huge. And again, I've learned a lot as well, with the cutting and the editing. And I do have 2 of our books on Audible so far. So even just learning about voice editing and whatnot, there was a lot to take in there too. So learning curve.
And one thing I'm learning to do now is doing voiceovers on videos and pictures.
Nice. Yeah. So it's a whole other world that opens up once you start.
Yep, absolutely. And hey, and if I keep getting smaller and shrinking, you can definitely add me to the new Doonies.
Okay, sounds good.
The talk show host Dooney, Chris.
You have to be able to answer the crystal question by then, so some research is needed.
Okay, just be nice to me though. Just be nice to me.
That's fair. I am. I'm very empathetic.
You definitely. So I will do my research. I promise.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, Emma, I'm going to let you go, but I want to say thank you so much. Continued success with the Doonies and with Rogers TV. I'm so happy for you. And give me a little bit of time tonight, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and then I will put this into reels and clips. You know how everyone's attention spans nowadays, so you got to learn to go with the trends. Videos are 30 seconds or 15 seconds seem to do better now.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emma. Have a Dooney night.
Have a magical Dooney day.
Thank you so much. You're the best, Emma. Have a good night. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. That concludes season 14, episode 12, overall 726 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph, Ottawa. Again, check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of EVs, electric vehicles, and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210. Or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. As we wrap up my third show in 3 nights with 3 great guests. And I want to say thank you to Emma Miller for being my 3rd guest in 3 nights, for coming on here. She is the creator and founder of the Doonies. Please follow her on social media and her YouTube channel as well, and check out the Doonies as well. And continued success to Emma. And I do have another announcement to make, guys. The next Small Talk podcast, episode 6, with co-host Chris Pame, Marlene Sharp, will be this Friday, June 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern, with special guest, local person Grace Saint. She is the manager with the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. If you've always been fascinated and interested in donkeys, I'm going to have Grace Saint on from the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, which is based in Puthlinch, which is about, 15, 20 minutes from Guelph. And she's going to come on and talk to us about her role as a manager at the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada and what they do for caring and looking after donkeys. And did you know some donkeys can live up to 40 years? So if you're curious about animals and donkeys, please check out the Small Talk podcast, season 4, episode 6, on Friday, June 26th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 on the West Coast. Marlene Sharp and myself, along with Grace Saint, a manager with the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, will be on. The next Argo Bounce podcast show, my 3rd show with my co-host Nick Small, is going to be on Saturday, June 27th at 10 a.m. And Nick and I are going to break down the Saskatchewan Roughriders Toronto Argonauts game on Friday night in Saskatchewan, as the Argos take on the 5-time Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Roughriders. And hopefully we can break down an Argos win over Saskatchewan. And we'll talk a little bit about the Argos win against Ottawa last week as well. It's been 11 days since me and Nick have done an Argo Bounce podcast show, just with my busy schedule and that. And I have some new Argos content from Argos practice today. I did a couple more player interviews, and I did some content with Jake Herslow. So make sure you check out my social media pages for that as well. So Friday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, the Small Talk podcast. Saturday, June 27th, 10 a.m., the Argo Bounce podcast show as well. The Small Talk, so you got the Small Talk podcast coming up this Friday and the Argo Bounce podcast coming up on Saturday. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment talk show to be announced. I do have more great guests and shows coming up as well. So stay tuned to my social media pages this weekend for the next edition of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment talk show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet here in Guelph. And as we wrap this show up, guys, speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet, right now, you can get an EV health check for change. Help support your local children's hospital with an EV health check for change package. For each package purchased, $10 will be directly donated to your children's hospital. More details available at barrycullen.com, or again, drop by their location here in Guelph at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Automall. And again, Barry Cullen Chevrolet is the regional dealership in Guelph since 1969. And also, as we wrap the show up, guys, if you're looking to adopt a pet, please check out the Cambridge District Humane Society, located at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the pets and animals that are up for adoption, their profiles, pictures, information is on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And they just recently had 4 dogs down there, including Cookies and Duncan, and a couple other ones that were down there for, I think, 4 or 5 months. They were all adopted as well. And I was down there yesterday as a volunteer, a dog walker volunteer, and I walked a dog for an hour named Clarence. So any of the cats and dogs and pets down there, you're interested, please check out the cambridgehumanesociety.org. And to book an appointment with the shelter about seeing a pet down there, you can call them at 519-623-7722, extension 0. Ask for Kat or Michelle, and they can set up an appointment with you as well. Michelle and her staff do a wonderful job in getting the animals, looking after our furry homeless friends down there, and also making sure they get adopted into good homes with good families as well. So at the Cambridge District Humane Society, you can't buy happiness, but you can adopt it. So again, check out Cambridge Humane Society and also check out my social media pages for some content there as well. And also, guys, again, my website, you can find it at beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. Finally, guys, live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. The audio version is on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, Good Pods, and also the audio version of this show is now available on YouTube. So you can watch the full video or the full audio on my YouTube channel. And go to Chris Palme, Live with CDP Talk Show. Hit subscribe, like, and share. I'm now only 125 subscribers away from 1,000. So let's get CDP to 1,000 subscribers by subscribing, liking, and sharing. And one of my videos from the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame last week, it was a 14-second clip of me pretending and throwing a baseball like a pitcher, got over 20,000 views on YouTube. So this social media, sometimes you post some content, you think, okay, may get a couple hundred views. And in my case, 20,000 views and as well. And I hope you all check my social media pages for my content from last week's Hamilton Tiger Cat BC Lions game, and also being at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2026. And a shout out to Scott Crawford, Lindsay Earl, Jeremy Diamond, and the entire staff, volunteers from the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame for that class of 2026, headlined by Devon White and Hazel May and Bill Stolman and Kate Soda and Paul Runge, a Canadian umpire for 30 years in the National League. Congratulations all to being introduced into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, including Jim Baba, the late Jim Baba as well. That is about it, guys, for my show. I want to say thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to this show. And also, you can contact me, email me, live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback would be greatly appreciated. And also, if you like my content and you'd like to support my YouTube channel, my 3 talk shows, I am on paypal.com. Go to paypal.com at Chris Palme if you'd like to support me with PayPal, or better yet, book a personalized video message from yours truly, CDP. I am on cameo.com. That's right, cameo.com. Type in Chris Palme, and I'd be happy to do happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy congratulations, happy divorce, anything within reason. So if you'd like to help support this show, you can do it through a video through cameo.com or paypal.com. And finally, guys, you can find me on Facebook, Threads, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky Social at Live with CDP19 on Blue Sky Social. Everywhere except for Snapchat. And also, again, check out my YouTube channel, Chris Palme, Live with CDP Talk Show. I just need 125 for more subscribers for 1,000, and I'm approaching 800,000 views. So I want to say thank you to everyone for subscribing and watching and sharing my YouTube channel. And please check out my YouTube Shorts channel. I have a lot of content there as well. And before we wrap up the show, I think I got a comment here, and this comment is from my guest, Emma Miller, who's now watching our show. Thank you so much, Chris Palme. That was a specifically good chat. I think I pronounced that right. Emma, thank you so much for having you on. It was a pleasure having you on. And when you have great guests, 1-hour shows fly by. And also, when you have great guests, you want great talkers. And Emma, you have such a great story. So, Emma, thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate your new friendship, your support, and congratulations in getting your show on Rogers Community TV, which is going to be airing soon in July. And I'm sure Emma will post on her social media pages as well. And that is about it for tonight's show, guys. We do have some World Cup. I'm not a World Cup fan, but I will mention some of the World Cup games. South Africa versus Korea, the Czechoslovakia versus Mexico. Switzerland beat the hometown Canadian team today 2-1. Last count, Brazil was up 1-0 over Scotland in the first half. And then the other game is Haiti against Morocco as well. So even though I'm not a big World Cup soccer fan, I played soccer as a kid and I loved it. But watching it, it's just not my cup of tea. But the World Cup is a big deal. And having 7 games in Vancouver and 6 in here in Toronto has been a big business for the Canadian economy as well. And the Canadian team just fell short today, losing 2-1 to Switzerland. We got Major League Baseball tonight. Your Blue Jays take on the Astros, 7:07 first pitch. They should probably be in the 4th or 5th inning right now. And the Detroit Tigers take on the Yankees tonight, 6:40. So they should probably be in about the 7th or 8th inning right now as well. And that is about it, guys. I just finished my 3rd show in 3 days with 3 different guests. And I want to say thank you to all my wonderful guests. Janique Gomes, who came on Monday night, and then Dr. Nazem Ibrahimi came on yesterday, mental performance coach, and Emma Miller as well. And I do have 2 more shows this week, guys. Again, Friday, the Small Talk podcast returns at 8 o'clock Eastern, at 5 on the West Coast with Marlene Sharp and myself, with Grace Saint from the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. And then Saturday, the Argo Bells podcast show, an independent, non-affiliated show of the Toronto Argonauts. Nick and I, we're going to break down the Argo-Saskatchewan game, hopefully a win, and also talk about their win over Ottawa. And we're going to air some of my media interviews I did today at Argo's practice as well. I want to give a shout out to Chris Belnovich. Anytime I need to come down to Argo's practice or Argo's home games at BMO Field in Toronto, Chris has been very accommodating the last 5 years. And check out their website, argonauts.ca. The Toronto Argonauts, first-class organization led by Mike Pinball Clements. Check their website out, argonauts.ca, for more information about the team and also to purchase tickets as well. And the Argos won't be back home in Toronto until August 6th against the Calgary Stampeders. And the Argos right now are 1-1. And also, if you're a fan of the Canadian Football League, check out their website, cfl.ca. or argonauts.ca for more information about the Argonauts and the CFL as well. That is about it for tonight's show. Again, I want to say thank you so much to Emma Miller for coming on and talking to us a little bit about her little magical creatures called the Doonies. Her website, thedoonies.ca. She's also on YouTube and Instagram and all social media platforms. I've got them down there on the tickers as well. And that is about it, guys. And again, I want to say thank you so much to Barry Cullen Chevrolet, and thank you, the audience, for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show, hosted by yours truly, Chris Palme, and brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership here in Guelph. I hope everybody has a great night, and we will see you soon for the Small Talk podcast and the Argo Bells podcast show. And I will make an announcement this weekend on the next edition of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. I have a special guest coming on next week as well. Good night, everybody.